Chapter 4 of shading. Let's get into being a little bit more bold. And I'm going to kick this out. I'm going to kick it out to about there. Bring this down. I'm just going to be way more bold with this. Everything is just getting kicked out big time. And I think that is finally the right measurement. Okay, again, I'm doing this very subtly. So I was there first, I believe, right there. And then I went here, and now I went here. So I basically came out almost 1/8 of an inch. Not quite, but I'm almost there. And I'm going to use this. I'm just kind of squinting. And I'm going to raise that whole shoulder. Yeah, big time. So now let's use this brush. Okay, so you guys have seen me use this brush many times in other videos before to get rid of the eraser crumbs. Well, now I'm going to use it to also blend in lieu of a blend-in stump, because I'm anti-blend-in stump. I think they overblend, and this is, look at, there is some pencil on the tip of this brush. It pulls pencil off of the paper. It doesn't mush it into the paper, which you get like that kind of silvery gray effect. I mean, if I press down hard like this, it's pushing the pencil into the paper, but not in the blend-in stump way. I'm just getting rid of the white, and I'm also starting to create a softer edge, because it's just the nature of this paper. Yeah, I like the way that looks. It's just the nature of this paper with its texture to be a little annoying if you don't want all those little light texture lines in your shadow shape. I want my shadow shape to be a little bit smoother. And so now I'm starting to also create some background tone, and I'm pulling excess colored pencil, because that's what this color erase is. It's a colored pencil. I'm pulling some excess colored pencil off of the paper. Do it equally so we have that equal look and feel. Everything's getting softer now. Softness is the key to realism. Softness is the key to realism. So now what else am I accomplishing with this brush? I'm turning all the lights down here into a number 9. Squint at it. I'm trying not to touch this area with my brush. I mean, I can easily pull out with my kneaded eraser, but I just don't want to. I want to just be preventative. Turn the breasts a little bit more. Hope you're enjoying that noise of the brush at home. It's weird. A brush with a pencil, color erase pencil, animation pencil, but to each his own. You just got to find what works for you. And honestly, I just love this combination. Graphite would be all over the place right now. I mean, the smudging that just took place with that pencil, I would have had graphite everywhere, and it wouldn't have been pretty. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start to establish some tone in the background. And I got to be really careful here, because when I blend this the same way that I just did with the brush, I don't want to destroy my lights. Now, I can use a smaller brush, but the smaller the brush, the more it acts like a blend-in stump. And why am I anti-blend-in stump? Because I think the blend-in stump makes your drawings all look like a silvery, cottony type thing. Now, I'm sure there are some really good people that work with the blend-in stumps. I'm just not one of them. Like, I never got good results with it. Like, I always overwork with the blend-in stump for some reason. Okay, I'm just going to brush off those excess eraser crumbs, and let's reestablish the shoulder now. So I'm looking at the angle of this line. See, I just noticed my head shifted. You got to really be conscious of that. Just to reiterate, I'm not working from this photo. I'm working from the statue in front of me. And my head shifted, so my head shifts, all the measurements go wrong. And then I just kind of keep, adjusting, and I start to get frustrated. So I've got to take into consideration that my head is in the proper place. Okay, this I'm just not getting. I've got to make sure that I get this. Looking at that negative space. So just focus and concentration. And let's level this. Much better. Yeah, much better. Now, I've had questions about why do you use your finger sometimes and why do you use the brush sometimes? I use my finger sometimes just because it's quicker. And the brushes, sometimes I lose my momentum with the pencil when I keep going for the brush, putting the brush down. I just want to kind of go a little bit faster. And the brush is good for when I know that I'm going to be erasing for a while, like what I just did. But if I just need to get rid of like a little something, a little eraser crumb, that's when I'll use my fingers. So now I'm going to do a little rendering in the light. Keeping it ultra light. Yeah, this is just coming down on an angle. The statue isn't super hyper realistic in terms of muscles and anatomy, and that's okay. I mean, this is just a normal body, I guess, this statue. It's not someone who's been working out or a dancer or ultra skinny. I'm just going to go a little bit more solid here. And so I like that 10 times better, what I just did. It took me a while to get these like subtleties. So you see how I'm starting to get a little texture over here? Now let's go back to the background. And my background, I'm going to keep it light. I don't want this to be like solid black. Just because it's going to take me forever to shade that. And I don't want to deal with forever with a background tone. I want to keep this thing kind of like light and airy. Now, I'm not going to hold myself to that. I could change as I go. If I find that it's too light and I don't have that 3 value thing going on. Like, I kind of want 3 values. Now, this I'm going to do minimal shading, just because I kind of want my finger to blend all this over here. Or at least my hands. So I'm using a diagonal, like I said in chapter 1 of the value. Going with a diagonal reverse gradation, kind of. So just blend right into the statue. Don't separate. They'll be separated a little bit more so in the light. Okay, I'm going to break out the old brush soon before we move on to the next chapter. I just want to put pencil down over here. I don't think I'm going to match the texture of the fabric in the background. Just too time consuming for a DVD. If I was doing this on my own, maybe I would do that. That's just surface planes. Long strokes. Okay, so let's blend. Again, we don't want to touch the light part too much. Look at how soft now. That's starting to create atmosphere. It's starting to blend into the shadow. Now, I don't even know where I got this brush. This is a 4-inch pure Bristol, 100% pure Bristol. I don't know. This thing just landed into my lap one day. I don't know where I even got it. But I use it all the time now. It's very, very cool. So you see how I've got the brush on an angle? Because I just don't want to go into the light of the statue. This has got to be pure white up here because that's where all the light is hidden. Okay, now we're starting to cook a little bit. Now I like the way that it's coming out. Proportions be damned, you know, some of my proportions are slightly off, and I'm fixing as I go, but the atmosphere is starting to take off a little bit for me. Okay, let's move into the next chapter.